Hey folks, thanks for joining us to talk about prototype playtesting at PlaytestCloud. For those of you who don't know, PlaytestCloud is a service that gives game studios outside access to real players to effectively provide game studios with these players playing your games in natural environments. We have, over the years, helped so many studios reduce churn, dropout rates, improve first-time user experience, player enjoyment, and so much more. What we want to talk about today is kind of maybe one could say hidden menu item, something that doesn't really get as much light and has been around with PlaytestCloud for a long time, is prototype playtesting. Being able to actually go in and actually playtest your prototypes. So whether you're using Figma, Proto.io, any of these kind of top prototyping tools. It's a huge important phase in the development process. And it's a really great way to transformatively approach ideas and bring them to life kind of in the early stages, creating a tangible model of your game almost. Prototypes will allow you to provide a essential opportunity to test in that early phase and refine your concepts. That's why it's so important, and that's why we offer it. So I brought in Rohan here today to help us get started with this and kind of show us exactly how this can work. Rohan, do you want to kind of show us how we can playtest our prototypes at PlaytestCloud?
Sure. Yeah, it's actually, like you said, it's one of those under you not as much utilized features that we have on the platform. And it's great because, one of the challenges usually for a playtest is getting the build. But if you have some already set up in one of these prototyping tools, all you need is a URL and you can set up a playtest. So I'm going to quickly show you how to do that. So let me share my screen. So when you're ordering a playtest, you follow the usual process that you would with a playtest. So you select a game, give it a name, and then when you come to the build section, what you want to do is switch to HTML game/prototype, and then here, based on which OS you're looking at, you select that, and you can, I want to do it on Android, for example. You can simply paste the prototype URL here and hit submit. It does what it needs to do with the magic in the background to set it up for you, and then you can do all of the good, like the usual setup for your playtest. Select the how long players need to interact with the prototype, how many players, which players. So how do you want to target them? One of the newer features is also you can screen the players yourself, and that's it. You can set up tasks. You can give them a custom briefing as well, and simply order the playtest. How this works is that the player actually enters the playtest through the normal flow, and it's just that when they need to access the build, instead of accessing what they usually would a game, they instead get the prototype that you created. And this is actually something we've recently done a lot of work on. So initially, what we had offered is something that was closer to how the prototype would open in the phone browser. We try to mimic that as closely as possible. But we actually got a lot of feedback saying that actually, right now, as it is not ideal either. Because especially on Android, if you want to use the entire screen, the player needs to save that prototype on their home page, open that, and they can full screen. It's a whole bunch of setup steps, right? Which no one really wants to do. So we kind of changed how we open the prototype once it's in the playtest. And we're going to show you that on the screen right now. So yeah, the player has gone through all the setup steps where they've accepted the NDA, they've seen your custom briefing, and then they go to the step where they have to start the recording. And once they start the recording, we automatically navigate to your prototype. So we built a little prototype for us to demo this for you, and that's what I'm showing you right now. So you can see that what's great here is you get the entire screen. There's nothing blocking your screen, so it's as close to how you designed it is what they see. What we have given for players to have a little bit of navigation control is a little bar on the top that they can show and hide. There's a little arrow there that you can click on. They can move the indicator around in case it's blocking some part of your screen. And otherwise, they can quite simply interact with your prototype. As you can see, so we have this play button. We've built this little store page that they can interact with and go back. And also, there are tasks available. So there's a little task bubble here that I can, again, also move around in case it's overlapping with some element on the screen. But they can open that up and say, okay, they want me to click on the store, and so they can close it, click on the shops page, and I can say, okay, I've done that task. And usually they want me, there's other steps where you want to click on play, for example, here, and that's a task I've completed. And you can also ask players to speak out loud about things. So if you want to say, like this task here, what do you think of the icons at the bottom left? So the player here would then comment on the bottom left icons and what they think of it. If that's important to your research, you can ask them those specific questions as they interact with your prototype as well, right? Once the player is done, they simply switch back and end the recording. So I can quickly, and that's pretty much the entire thing. You get to see the entire interaction the player has with your prototype. You can see where they touched the screen as well, and this is available both on iOS and Android. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, what's really cool about this is you get the same kind of think aloud style videos that all of the other playtests that we run offer. And you get these videos of players actually interacting with your prototype, and you can do this at such an early stage of development to where it's a lot easier to create a prototype more than to create a full game to start playtesting. And so it's a great way to kind of like start interacting, tweaking, figure out the mechanics in a basic level. We support a lot of different prototyping tools. Of course, you have Marvel, Figma, Proto.io, Principle, Adobe XD, and InVision. And what's really great as well is they're supported on both iOS and Android.
Yeah. All we need is a URL. If your prototype can be accessed through a URL, that's all we really need.
Exactly. And yeah, even if you're using some prototyping tool that in the future, when this video is old and I have gray hair at some point, and you're like, oh, I don't know if they support whatever, ask us. As long as we can get a link into it, chances are we could probably run that prototype. But yeah, if it's a new one that we haven't yet covered, ask us. As with anything on PlaytestCloud, always ask, and we'll work with you to try to support it. So definitely just be in contact with us. But yeah, I think it's really cool to be able to kind of go in and actually start prototype testing and being able to kind of go in early. And so yeah, this is kind of a underutilized hidden feature of PlaytestCloud. And hopefully this gives you a brief idea on how to get support and how to start running some prototype playtest here at PlaytestCloud.
I have some quick tips and tricks that I could share on what you want to do. When you're building your prototype, of course, you want to build it for a mobile screen, which is in the aspect ratio of a mobile screen, and that will lead to the best rendering in most players' mobile phones as well. But if you have something bigger, then you might have to resize that, or there might be scroll bars available on the left side, which you don't ideally want. So if you just design it for a mobile screen as well, it'll render with the entire screen visible, as you'll see in the demo as well.
Perfect. Well, good. Well, that's it. We just wanted to briefly come on here and talk about that. If you have any questions, check out the link up here. We're happy to start a conversation about prototyping or anything else, if that matter. Thanks for using PlaytestCloud, and stick around for some more videos on how best to use PlaytestCloud to discover why your players are playing how they play. Until next time, thanks.